Got Your Back pod stream is brought to you by JL Financial Solutions. If you're an Albertan looking to plan your financial future, you want someone you can trust. Together with Sun Life's estate and financial planning services, JL Financial Solutions will develop a plan you can be confident in to grow and protect your wealth. Give Jonathan Lambert and his team a call at 780-733-0910. Last show of the season. What's going on, folks? That's why they call it a frenzy. Free agent frenzy still going. The Edmonton Oilers, one of the more active teams today. We're going to wrap it all up, break it all down on this, the final episode of Season 3 here on Got Your Back. Rob Brown, he's joining us from the cabin. Jason Strudwick, fresh off his fishing trip. Can't wait to hear about some of those antics. And Zuby at the helm as well, working the controls in Kelowna. I'm coming at you one last time from our long shot studio here in Sherwood Park. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in Edmonton and in Sherwood Park. A great golf experience, great pub experience as well. Check out Long Shots. And as always, podcast brought to you by our amazing title sponsor, Sherwood Buick GMC. They got an incredible deal going on their Sierra 1500s. Get ready to drive away with the best deal in town when you lease a 2024, just $450 per month, 24 months at 4.9%. Visit the crew at 10 Auto Mall Road or online at www.gmcpod.com. All right, let's get to the fellas. Rob Brown at the cabin. Where are you at, Brownie? Is it Cranbrook? Is that where your cabin is?
Yeah, just south of Cranbrook. It's called Moy Lake. So this is our 16th or 17th year. So I think we're here for about 7-8 weeks, something along those lines.
He's got the tan going. Hey, Struds, Brownie's a little red nose there. You've been there for a few days. Hey, Struddy.
He looks nice. SPF, buddy, go higher, right? Don't go lower. Protect that skin. Your face looks like an old baseball glove.
An old catcher's mitt.
Horse saddle.
Yeah. Active day for the Oilers, boys. Active day. Lots going on. We're going to break it all down all throughout the podcast tonight. We're going to talk about the signings, who they got, who they missed, how it all looks. Let's talk line combinations. Let's get into all of it. So lots to break down today. Before we get there, though, Struds, got to ask you about the fishing trip, bud. You were on a fishing trip. I might have touched base with a couple of people that were in and around the mix with you. So what I'm told is they have never seen someone that needs as much sleep as you do. All you did was complain about needing to get to bed because of the early mornings and such. Apparently you were a significant party pooper is what I hear.
Nope, not at all. I live my own life, right? I'm not there to follow someone's guideline of what it has to be like, right? So 4:15 wake-up calls come up pretty quick. So, 4:15, I'd go to bed at 10 o'clock. I don't think that's unreasonable. I had one beer and 2 teas pretty much every night. Got a little crazy. And off to bed, but it was unreal fishing trip, man. Honestly, it was so much fun. I think I dragged Moby Dick off the bottom of the ocean. Massive halibut. One arm, too. One arm. I was reeling and lifting with one arm. That's the power in these bad boys.
Someone suggested you had a horseshoe in the rectum. Louis might have mentioned that he felt you're a little beginner's luck there. You're basically clueless for the most part, but had some beginner's luck.
So Louis DeBrusque considers himself an outdoorsman, talks about it, he grew a beard. I don't talk about it. I just do it. Right? I don't have to tell people how good I am. I don't have to, every time I meet someone, I don't tell them about how he sat in a tree stand for 14 days just to get the perfect white-tailed deer. If I hear that story one more time, I feel like I was there. I feel like I was actually that 2 weeks in that whatever they call it, the horse trail, whatever, the tree stack, whatever it is. So I just perform. That's what happens. I perform, and he's frustrated. I don't think he brought home any meat. He stopped at Safeway on the way home to grab some link cod to show his wife.
Well, he's not even here to defend himself. But you know what? That's okay. The DeBrusques are smiling large right now. How about Jake? Whoa, yeah. Whopper of a deal goes to the Vancouver Canucks. It was a pretty good day. Brownie, before we get to the breakdown, give me one word to describe the Oilers today, buddy.
Offensive. They've added some offensive players to an already very good offensive hockey club. I think it's a good day. You really do.
Strategic. They're really strategic in how they applied their money. It was like I used to go to grad sales with my grandma. Really smart with my money.
All right, let's get to the breakdown brought to you by Mr. Dirk.
It's true.
Our last breakdown of the season. I'm kind of sad. I'm a little emotional, guys. I'm going to miss you. Brought to you by Mr. Dirk, the iconic men's clothing store in Edmonton, founded in 1939, just off White Avenue and 102nd Street. Mr. Dirk, formerly Dirks, has everything you need from formal to casual wear. They can also do customs, have in-house tailoring. Visit MrDirk.com. Have to say, they were an original sponsor here on the show. And so thankful to have Sterling and Dan and the amazing crew down at Mr. Dirk be such a big part of things here on Got Your Back. So really want to extend a big thanks to them, and we'll do that through the night because we've had some amazing sponsors, and they are greatly appreciated here on the show. Okay, Struds, I'm going to let you just kind of riff a little bit on what was an incredibly active day from Jeff Jackson. Just kind of running it down here. Arvidsson 2x4, right? Skinner 1x3. They went and grabbed Josh Brown on the blue line, 3 times $1 million. Corey Perry re-ups, 1 at 1.4, got some bonuses in there. Matthias Janmark late in the day gets done, 3 times $1.45 million. Connor Brown, as we know, re-signed as well, 1 time $1 million. Troy Stetcher re-ups here late in the day. Connor Carrick, they get a deal done with as well, a depth defenseman. Like, coming into the day today, I did not expect this many signings, let alone signings of guys from outside the organization, Struds, but very active day, man. Headlines being Arvidsson and Skinner.
How many times next year are we going to hear you suggest Troy Stetcher should go in for Cody Ceci?
That's where you start. That's where you start your analysis. Jeez, man. You're already on holidays.
So strategic. I thought they were really strategic and smart. They didn't have a ton of money, but they got a lot of things done. They brought back a guy who's, I think, improving, Connor Brown, improving from his injury. We know what Janmark can deliver, but it's not a number that kills you. And then on Skinner and Arvidsson, guys that can score. But again, these aren't long contracts. You know what this is? These are 2 players, in the case of Arvidsson, that is familiar with the Edmonton climate, wants to come and play with a buddy, and likes the way the team's going. And for Skinner, he's going to make a lot of money in his buyout. He's never been in the playoffs. So this team is guaranteed to make the playoffs. So they found targeted people that were looking for something, and they taking advantage is the wrong word, Brownie, but they found a common interest.
Well, I think what they found too are guys that want to play on a winner. And I think this is what you have when you have success as a team. Players want to be part of that team. Yeah. Jeff Skinner, as Stride said, he's never been in the playoffs before. He's coming to a team. He's going to probably play with Leon Draisaitl, and he's going to be a playoff hockey player. He gets to see what he's capable of doing. Arvidsson's probably sick and tired of seeing the Oilers in the playoffs, and he's going to come to an organization and have a chance. So success begets success. He right now, these are players that want to come and be part of an organization going in the right direction. So I thought for a team that doesn't have a general manager, it did pretty good today, getting some deals done, getting important players back, role players back. I think that at the end of the day, I know all the, TSN and that they'll do their winners and losers on free agent day. I think the Edmonton Oilers are big winners today. I think they found out what they needed, and they went and got it very quickly.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll break down the forwards in this segment. We'll break down the in takeaways. We'll go over the D, and then in our Taking a Lap segment, we'll go around some other stuff that happened around the National Hockey League. So, my take on the day is this. Somehow they were able to add a couple of guys with 20 goal potential, right? And they've lost 2 here in Henrique and in Fogel. But they basically swap out Fogel for Arvidsson, and I like that. I think there's a more consistent level of grittiness and work ethic that they're going to find from Arvidsson. He was very good in that LA series. I think in Skinner, you've got a guy that you put him with the right playmaker, and I mean, this guy has been a goal scorer his entire career. So obviously, with the buyout and everything, it's probably a little embarrassing, and he'll probably be a motivated player. But they get him at a good dollar figure, right? This is a guy that's never played a playoff game, ever. So he's coming here to get in on this playoff fun that he's been watching the Oilers have. So on the top end, I think they did a pretty good job, and then they build out some nice depth. in the bottom part of their lineup by returning some pretty critical guys here. So Strud, specifically on Arvidsson, like he's a different player than Foegele. You know, he definitely is, and brings a little bit different dimension, but fair to say that there's a better chance he'll belong in the Oilers' top 6 more consistently than what we felt Foegele did.
Arvidsson is a guy that it would be really frustrating, or who is really frustrated to play against as a defender, because he drives the net. You don't have to ask Arvidsson to drive the net. You don't have to wonder if he's going to take it wide. He is going to drive the net. He's like Zach Hyman in that way. He is going to drive the net. He's going to go there. So it's no question about it. He is a little bit older. I don't think he's as fast. He's not as big, and he has had some injury issues. Those are the concerns. But playing with Leon Draisaitl, I think he's got the right mentality. He's smart. He's a more cerebral hockey player than Foegele. But Foegele has other attributes. So I think I'm looking at that package beside Leon should be pretty good. Pretty nice little fit for Leon if I'm, sitting wherever he's sitting, thinking about what my line could be next year, Brownie.
Oh, I agree. Arvidsson was my favorite player for the LA Kings in that series. How many healthy runs did he take at Matthias Ekholm? His buddy. I would say, and I'm just guessing, Arvidsson is probably 5'9", plays like he's 6'4", where we've seen players in the past here that were 6'3" and played 5'10". So this is a guy that plays bigger than he is. He's got good offensive instincts, and when the games got tougher, whether it be in the regular season games or the playoff games, he got better as the games became more important. He got better when the time in the game was more important. That was the player that I know that you loved, Henrique Struds. Arvidsson is a player that I'd love to have on our team, and I think that is a really good signing. He has to stay healthy, but when he is healthy, I think he's a very effective player, and again, motivated. He's going from an LA team that didn't forecheck, didn't try to create offensively, and he's probably going to play with Leon Draisaitl. How excited do you think he is right now to becoming an offensive player that he hasn't allowed to be for the last number of years?
Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here and hear from the newest member of the Oilers. With 45 years in the business, should you need a new furnace, garage heater, air conditioner, hot water tank, or any of those things serviced, Weiss Johnson is the place to go. Edmonton's #1 choice for heating, air conditioning, and plumbing services. Visit weiss-johnson.com. Jingle. Oh, Zuby, you nailed it. That might have been your tightest one of the year, buddy. That was really, really good. Big thanks to Dennis and the amazing crew down at Weiss Johnson for providing us with a great partnership and a great jingle, too. Here is Victor Arvidsson. I asked him, guys, about taking all those runs at Matthias Ekholm in the postseason and what Ekholm told him about Edmonton.
Well, he probably didn't want to play against me again. No, but we're competitors. I know that, and we battled a lot in practices before. So that's just a part of the game. I feel like, and I think he just told me it's a great place to be, and where the team is heading, and he was really excited for me to come to Edmonton. So that helped a lot. And
okay. Just an update here. As the time of taping this podcast, here's what I can tell you on Adam Henrique. Multiple teams, I think, still in the mix on Adam Henrique. He's going to have options. The Oilers are in there. I think they have great interest in keeping Adam Henrique. The cap space is closed up, right? We all see how much the cap space is closed up. They've still got to sign Holloway and Broberg, right? A couple of RFAs, and they're kind of out of money. So in order for Adam Henrique to work, they're going to have to find a trade, going to have to find a move. So I would say it feels unlikely that there's a fit with Adam Henrique, unless he's willing to take a significant discount to return to Edmonton and take a cup run. But here's the thing, guys. I think that as frustrating a player as Ryan McLeod was in the postseason for them, here's, I think, the strategy at third line center. McLeod is a decent regular season third line center. Now, he might not be the guy to take you to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs as your third line center, but he's reasonably cost effective as a third line center. Analytics are good. Metrics are good. So I could see them being okay with Ryan McLeod returning in the third line center spot, even though he was probably better on the wing and was a fourth line winger in the playoffs. And if it's a need they have to address at the deadline, Struds, I could see them doing it then. But I believe the fallback plan for the moment is to just return McLeod at 3C.
So here's the problem with that. To acquire a first rounder in this year's draft, they traded away one of the next draft's first rounders. So now they're chasing it. Now you're out there chasing it, right? So you can. So let's say they trade the other one, whichever one it is, to get a 3C. Now you're chasing again the next year, and you're so far ahead. So
hang on those Struds. Can I just chime in there really quick?
Sure.
I did hear a lot of criticism towards the Oilers for that move, with the idea that, well, now they have no first round pick next year.
Right.
But here's what people need to keep in mind. They don't have nothing. They have a decent player that they drafted, right? They've got that asset. And so if he returned, and by the way, they had him mid-20s on their own board. Right. So they were happy to get him where they got him. But remember, he's going to go play for a team next year. He might have a great season. There's no reason why they can't trade that player, who you would argue is a year closer to playing for whoever they trade him to. It's not like they have no first round caliber asset. They could move that player if the need arose. Like look at who was the guy they drafted and put in the
Reed Schaefer
Ekholm deal? Reed Schaefer. They drafted him, probably played better than people thought, and had tremendous value by the deadline the following year. So I'm not as quick to criticize them or to point out that they don't have that asset for next year.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think you need to go out and acquire a third line center. You have him already. He's playing with Connor McDavid. If Ryan McLeod is not getting it done by the time you get to the playoffs, you've got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that you can put as your third line center, and you have all the way to Kane that are both capable of playing on your line. Now your three centers are McDavid, Draisaitl, and RNH. I mean, sounds pretty good. RNH to me is as good as Henrique is, if not better. So to me, I don't think you really have to go and waste a draft pick or a high draft pick to get a third line center when you got RNH, because you have more depth. With Arvidsson, with Skinner, you have more depth in your top six. Right now they got Kane, who is a top six forward, and Holloway, who we both believe is a top six forward. You have got those guys playing on the third line. So I think when they get to playoff times, if McLeod doesn't get it done, you got RNH, and that's an ace in your hole that you can put as your third line center and feel really, really comfortable in the playoffs with those three guys.
Struds on 3C?
Yeah, no, and I just want to make a comment. I'm not criticizing the player, but the problem is that, if I have a car, it's a value is whatever it's worth. Whereas a first rounder, people know where it's going to be, right? So I think that's just my thing. I was surprised by that move. He might turn out to be a really good player. It might be someone, but what if you want to trade for a player and that team doesn't value the player that they drafted?
Yep, that's for sure.
That's
fair.
And that's my concern. So we're a long ways away from the trade deadline, but as far as that, and I put my lines down, I also have Nuge as a third line center. I think that you can mix and match, and that is a really good, when you look at those three centers, and then, I guess let's say it's Derek Ryan as a fourth center. That's four good centers, really good centers. And then you have more depth. I think they have more depth that can move around that lineup with the step that Holloway took. Now, a big part of this plan, I'm guessing, is both McLeod and Holloway taking a step. You don't need Hyman to take a step. You don't need, Skinner, I think we can pencil him in for 25 goals. Like at least I'm guessing, guys. Connor Brown will be, let's say he's even not quite, let's say he's 80% of what he was in the playoffs. Janmark, we know what we get. So Arvidsson health, but Holloway and McLeod, if they can take a step, man, you might actually have something there. But right now, I can't trust McLeod in the third line center spot based on what we saw in the playoffs. I don't.
In the playoffs, though, Struds, do you trust him for games 1 through 82?
I probably start there and give another opportunity to develop, right? But I just wonder if he can change. He went from the third line center to the fourth line left wing. So that is not an upward trend like we saw from Holloway. That's the opposite way. And I'd be nervous about that. That's something. So I'd actually start with Holloway on the wall, but with McDavid and Hyman. Start there. See how that looks.
Okay, let's get to line combinations. Let's go ahead and do that now, guys. Sure. Zuby, go ahead and fire them up there, buddy. We sort of pieced these together on the fly today after some of the deals came in. So Nugent, Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman, if they want to keep the big line together. Skinner, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson. Jeff Jackson did say today they envision Arvidsson for Draisaitl's right wing. Now, Evander Kane, I reported today and can confirm they have not asked him to waive his no trade as of today. Don't know if that's going to change or not. Also, Jeff Jackson, I asked him about Evander Kane's health. and if there was a surgery needed, if he'd be available for training camp. At this point, he said they're not sure. They still have to do some consultations and get a second opinion. So we're not 100% sure there, but we're assuming Kane's good to go. So McLeod and Holloway on a third line. And then essentially that third line during the playoffs, Janmark and Brown on the wings. You throw Derek Ryan in there, Corey Perry as an extra. Now, there's lots of different configurations that can work. This is what we've pieced together here, guys. But those top 9 forwards as they sit right there, pretty good depth here. I know Henrique out and Fogle out, ran the risk of thinning them out, but I would say that this looks every bit as solid as what they went into the playoffs with this season, Struds.
Well, they got cheaper, right? The Arvidsson and Skinner are, now I know that Henrique his salary's reduced, but it's cheaper, these two guys, than the other two. And it is clear they're trying to help Leon Draisaitl. That is clear. So Arvidsson is just like his Hyman, right? That's who he's going to be. And I think he's going to be the workhorse beside him. And then who's on the left side, right? Kane and he didn't always seem to have the right chemistry. I'd give Skinner the shot. So now you got 2 lines that look good, and they have scoring on those lines, and you have a worker bee and massively talented centers. Like, that is a big problem for anybody, Brownie.
It is. The big question mark though is still third line center. And I'd move Nuge down. I'd move Holloway or Kane up on the first line, and I'd have Janmark on my third line. McLeod would be on my fourth line. I just don't trust him right now. And what we saw out of Janmark and or Brown, they both outplayed McLeod in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you go three-headed monster, Brownie?
I'd go the three-headed monster. I would certainly do that to start the season to see what it looks like, because when you get later in the season, I don't want to at the trade deadline decide, okay, McLeod's not there. We don't know if Nuge go move down. I want to start early and see if he's doing it. I mean, they're going to change. We've seen this team; they change lines all the time. But I would like to see Nuge at the beginning of the season. I'd like a test drive with either Kane or Holloway on the first line. See if they can get some chemistry, and if they can, what an asset you have with RNH to be able to play as your third line center, because there you got a guy that can play in your checking line. I can make a checking line out of it. It's not like you're taking ice time away from him. He's already on your power play, first unit, plays 2 minutes. He's your first line penalty killer, and you got a really good third line if RNH is your centerman. So I would start Holloway or Kane, I guess, or Kane on your first line, and Nuge would be my third line center. Holloway's on my McLeod is on my fourth line.
Interesting. Struds, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I had that too. So I think I'd start the year though with McLeod as my third line center to see if he's taken a step, right, and working with him. So I would do the same. I'd have him up at some point. I want to have Nuge on that third line and give it a good hard look. But the thing is, they seem to have a lot more depth, right? There's more depth on this group. I think it's before the trade deadline, right? And that's because you have to remember the trade deadline. They brought in Carrick, they brought in Henrique, and they brought in Holloway. So it's like adding 3 forwards to this line, to this group. I know, and I think everyone here is stronger than Adam Ernie, right? Or some of these other guys, and they still have James Hamlin, a speedy guy that can come up and support them in that lineup. So yeah, what I look forward to is I think there'll be a lot of mix and matching. I think Hyman's always going to be with 97, and I think you'll see Arvidsson always with Draisaitl. And after that, honestly, I think it's wide open, Brownie.
Yeah.
But what I think they have this year too is, how many times did we see this year they put Fogle and McLeod hoping that they could have some chemistry with Leon, or put up someone else hoping it would work with Leon. They got true top 6 players in Arvidsson and Skinner, and now you've got 2 guys in Holloway and Kane who probably belong in the top 6 that are playing further down on the lineup. So I agree, Struz. They have way more depth in top 6 forwards than they've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, we'll probably see somebody have to start in the American Hockey League here. Like they got to sign Broberg and they got to sign Holloway. They're going to have to clear up some space to get those done. That's why even more signings feels like a little bit of a stretch to me. The other thing that it does, Struds, is the nuclear option. The trouble with going with it was it thinned everything out so much. So if you go Hyman, McDavid, and Draisaitl together, say, it was like, oh, but what's coming over the boards next, right? It's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins lugging around third and fourth line players. Well, next over the boards, when you want to play Connor and Leon together, next over the boards can be, whatever your combination. You can have Nugent-Hopkins with Arvidsson and Skinner. If you want to have, somebody else with McDavid and Draisaitl, say Holloway or something, now you could go Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and Arvidsson coming over the boards next. It really makes the nuclear option look a lot more palatable for what comes over the boards the next two line Struds.
You could, and you can also put, you could have a third group would be, let's say you're with, would be Kane and Skinner up top with Nuge. You could have Arvidsson with Holloway, right? Like there's different looks now. And I think Arvidsson's I think Brownie, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think people really want to play with him because he gets the pucks, he makes plays, and he can score. Like he's a guy you want to play with. So not that I'm trying to push him down the lineup, but if you put him on the third line with, let's say, Dylan Holloway, you can really skate, and then McLeod in this case, like I think there's a lot of different looks you can give teams, because then that still leaves a second line of Kane, Skinner, and Nuge, right? Like there's those top nine are really, quite frankly, there's a lot of interchangeability, I think, and I look forward to seeing what he puts together, and it will take a while, I think, Brownie, to figure out what is your line, and maybe you see that like you did in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Arvidsson, and what also with the depth they have up front is the thought of having to go nuclear isn't as big anymore, because it used to be when your second line was Leon, especially it was Leon, Fogle, and McLeod. Well, we have to put Leon up on the first line because there's nothing happening on the second line. But now you got Leon with Arvidsson and Skinner, and you still have a Kane or a Holloway that are still capable. It's not like, okay, halfway through the second period, we're down a goal, we're going to have to put Leon and Connor together the rest of the game. You don't have to, because I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised at how effective an Arvidsson and a Skinner are. I mean, these are guys from outside of the organization that have had success offensively, that are coming to play with the second or third best player in the world. The excitement level is going to be huge. And you got a guy like Skinner, 1-year deal. He would, you go and score 45 goals playing with Leon Draisaitl. All of a sudden, that 1-year deal at $3 million. Okay, I'm going to get another really big contract. Yeah. So I think there's a huge incentive for those two players, especially at Skinner, and he's got the ability.
You throw those numbers. Yeah, go ahead, Strud.
Okay,
you
sorry.
go.
And then for both of you guys, power play. Do you change the power play? And then a comment. What I would say is I think you run 2 power plays. And this is the reason why. I know, Brownie, you're not going to like this, but to take some time on the ice off of those big guys and then get other guys involved. So I'm preaching almost. I'm almost at a minute. I know. But would you change that first line? Do you get Skinner in there or at all? Or do you run a second power play more often, Brownie?
Okay. Regular season, I stay with your same unit. The first unit always stays together, but I do believe you need 2 units. And there's for a couple of reasons. In case there's injuries later in the year and the playoff, you want those guys to play. Also, I mean, Skinner can score. Kane can score. Arvidsson can score. You got to give them some minutes. As an offensive player, it makes you a better 5-on-5 player when you have confidence. So yes, during the regular season, I believe you get a second unit and they get 45 seconds in every power play. And sometimes start them on the power play. Come playoff, you can go 2 full minutes with the main unit. I don't care.
Buddy, that you're making me cry over here. Don't even, because Skinner's not, just keep in mind, Skinner and Arvidsson, well, Arvidsson might kill penalties, but Skinner's not getting on the penalty kill.
Nope.
I don't know that Arvidsson is either. You have to find those guys minutes. So let me ask you this. Who are the 3 players on your second unit? Is it Kane, Arvidsson, Skinner?
Yes, that's my second unit.
So McLeod just becomes a penalty killer.
Well, McLeod.
Yeah, you don't need Ryan McLeod on your. You don't need Ryan McLeod on your power play.
Okay, so now by that you have everyone has a specialty teams role if you actually play that second unit, right? Because Janmark, Ryan, Brown, well, Dylan Holloway, he might have to learn how to kill. He's the only guy. Because if Kane actually gets power play time, Skinner gets power play time. You have
everyone. You can do, Struds. You can put Holloway. You can go 4-1 on your second unit too, and you can have Holloway playing on. You can go 1 defenseman on your second unit. So you can go. So now all of a sudden, and then Nurse, and then you have Holloway out there too. So now every player has a role, whether it's power play or penalty kill.
Yeah, I think they're a little hesitant. I think they're a little more hesitant to go with 1 defenseman on the second unit, because generally that's when it drops back to 5-on-5, and you potentially get caught. So I don't know if there's a lot of second power play units with 1 defenseman on them. I'm not sure, but
I love the idea of that though. Starting a second unit sometime. Again, 100%. I know how good that is, but you have to manage ice time for these guys, for everyone, and try to have the minutes closer. When you look at it, they've got to be more tight. Like I'd like to see everyone get close to 10 minutes and no one over 20 for forwards. I know that's crazy, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That was a lot of stuff, and we never even got through all of it. Last thing before we wrap up this segment, guys, National Hockey League announced today that, the executives involved with the Chicago Blackhawks have all been reinstated and are good to, seek employment in the National Hockey League as of July 10th. So where this becomes relevant to the Oilers is with Stan Bowman. I believe the Oilers would have interest in Stan Bowman. Would surprise me if conversations were going to be had. Jeff Jackson was asked about that on the Zoom call today, if Bowman was going to be a consideration for him. It's a long clip. I'll let you hear it, but basically he said he's been so swamped he hasn't had a chance to think about it. And again, I think this is one of those things people say when they don't have a ready to go answer and if they need to buy themselves a little bit of time. Of course, he's thought about the GM position, but here's Jeff Jackson on Stan Bowman.
I to be honest, I was so busy today that I only sort of heard about it when we finished up some of the things we were trying to get done. So I haven't really thought about it. I mean, Stan's obviously a long time GM and successful, and the NHL reinstated all three of the guys today. So I'm running a bit on fumes here because of the schedule with the playoffs and then the draft and free agency. So I haven't given any of it any thought, to be honest. I got to sort of decompress for a couple of days, but and then I got to move forward with my GM search. So to be honest, I can't comment right now.
Okay, gents, this will be polarizing. There's already people on the stream that are saying, heck no, don't even want us to talk about it. It's been a few years here. The National Hockey League has seen fit to go ahead and give these guys another opportunity. I'll pass it to you, Struds. What do you think? Is it a path the Oilers should go down?
Well, he had success, obviously, for what he did. The challenge is when you saw what happened with Mike Babcock in Columbus. That was a disaster. And with all due respect to the people involved, it was a complete disaster. And now none of them are actually working in the NHL. There needs to be a conversation about what have you done to change. How have you changed? Because what happened with Babcock, it was just, it was just terrible. It was just a disaster. Didn't change at all. So that's the first thing. How did you change? What are you doing? Now, as far as the hockey knowledge, obviously they know. And then Quenneville's not coming here. They have a coach already. But Stan Bowman has a good track record, right? As what he's done. So I would be interested in him. And Jeff Jackson, I believe when he has a thought about it lately, but I'm sure over that playoff run, he was thinking about it, right? I'm like, So I think did he know this was coming? Did he wait? So, and then what does Bowman come in? He doesn't come in as a GM. Could he come in as whatever, anything? You want to add smart people to your group. But I need to, if I was Jackson, I need to know, what did you do? How will you handle this different? Like, what have you learned? Otherwise, because you cannot have a PR disaster like Columbus had. It was a complete disaster, Brownie.
I agree. I mean, I don't know enough about Stan Bowman to say he'd be a good fit or not. I don't know enough about what happened and the conversations they had with the league. I do believe, though, that there is interest, or there's some thought of them going somewhere, that they're being reinstated right now. That all of a sudden, I don't think all three of them are like, hey, we're back in now. We're going to start looking. I think there's probably been conversations, and they probably have an idea of where they could possibly go. So I think there's something on the back burner for, if not all of them, at least one of them, and that's why they're coming in right now. Do the Oilers need Stan Bowman to be successful? No. I think there's a lot of good candidates out there that maybe you just go with someone that's a little less toxic, and you've got a pretty good thing going here right now. Why mess up that good positive vibe that you have with this organization to bring a little negativity into it when you don't need it?
Yeah, great points, you guys, by both of you. I think that the NHL really took its time here. Those guys were kind of in purgatory for a little while. They're not kind of, there was no length of the sentence. There was nobody really had an idea what was going on. I'm not sure what went on behind the scenes. But Gary Bettman really kind of took his time with this, and we didn't hear a lot about it. Now, there was some reporting from Mark Lazarus in The Athletic, citing several sources that both Quenneville and Bowman had spoken with Beach and with other forces for positive change in the NHL. Sheldon Kennedy does a lot of work along those lines, and I believe there's been quite a bit of work done with his organization as well. So the NHL clearly is satisfied that if and when those gentlemen describe their process and what they've gone through over the last few years, that what they have to say will be satisfactory. That the body of work they've put together, the lessons they've learned, the NHL is clearly in a position where whatever those gentlemen have to say about the work they've done, the NHL's okay with them getting a second chance here. So what I'd say about the Oiler organization, and really I believe it's Daryl Cates, because I think in anything like this, he would be the one that you would make the decision. He'd be the one that would make the decision. The Oilers hopped in on Evander Kane when the argument could be made not a lot of other teams would. The Oilers hopped in on Corey Perry when, the argument could be made that not every team necessarily would have. Zach Kassian was a guy that had issues from the past that they gave another chance to. This feels to me like something that the Oilers would be okay considering, and it wouldn't surprise me if we hear something along these lines. But again, Jeff Jackson not really confirming anything at this point. So we will see what happens in the days and weeks ahead. The other thing too, I think they want someone with experience. They've got some really important negotiations that are supposed to happen here, and I think they're probably looking for an experienced hand at the wheel, as much as a Matthew Darsh or someone like that might be ready to take the step. I could see them really leaning hard towards somebody that has some significant experience. So we'll see what happens with that one on the days to come. All right, we're over time. Quick break. When we come back, let's dive into the D. They got some work done there. Not everybody loved the signings on the blue line, though, and we'll dig into it when we come back. The fastest growing male grooming company on the planet just got even better. Backscape 2.0 with a revolutionary friction fit handle makes the razor easy to pop in and out to shave not only your back, but anywhere on your body. And those hard to reach spots just got even easier with the new ergonomic design. Backscape's new titanium shave head makes for a smoother, more comfortable shave that respects your skin. Backscape 2.0. Stay smooth, gentlemen.
On paper, my life looks exciting.
In reality, not so much.
Every day it's same old, same old.
Clock in, clock out.
Then I discovered Play Alberta. I can play casino games anytime.
Bet on any game.
And buy lottery tickets anywhere in Alberta. I think my spleen is ruptured.
All right, time now for takeaways, brought to you by FG Promotions. When it's time to step up your brand game, turn to FG Promotions for quality, consistency, customization. They've got it all. Mention this ad, you'll get yourself 10% off your first order. They got great incentives program offering discounts on golf gear as well. FGpromo.ca is the website. Get that brand shining, and a huge thanks to the group over at FG Promotions for coming on board here late in the season for the pod. Hope to see them again for season number 4. Okay, gents, let's dive in on the blue line. So Vinny Desharnais exits stage left to British Columbia and the Vancouver Canucks on a 2x2 deal. And that leaves the Oilers with some need back there. Josh Brown is the one they turn to, one of the ones they turn to. 6'5", 3 years at $1 million. Now, when they signed him, it set off a string of tweets and a flurry of reaction. The numbers, the analytics, the deep dive, the numbers were not great. They were not great. There's no shielding that. There is no covering that up. Big, rangy, as Jeff Jackson said today, boxes out really well in front of his own net. But Struds, we will start with you on this one. Analytics aren't great, but look where he came from. What do you know about the player? What do you think?
Yeah, I've watched him quite a bit. He is not as good as Vinny Desharnais, right? I don't think he makes the first pass the same, and that reflects the money, right? This is not a guy that can moonlight up in your top 4 beside Darnell Nurse. He is a 6'7", a true 6'7". And the reason they did this is because of the emergence of Broberg. Broberg is going to play every night. And to me, this means that neither Kulak or Ceci is going to be traded. And before the playoffs, I would have thought one of them be traded. But no, this is what's happening. Those two guys, I believe, will be staying alongside Broberg. But Brown is a 7. That is what he is. You want to know why? Because for quite a bit of my career, that's what I was.
You were better, Struds. You were better. I don't know a whole lot about Josh Brown, but he's a depth defenseman. He'll play only when there's injury. They tells you that they feel he's their 7th defenseman, and he's got some toughness. They don't have a whole lot of money to spend, and they went and found a guy that could fit the bill as a defenseman that will be used in case of emergency only. So I don't know a whole lot about him other than I remember him being big. I remember him at times being a little nasty. Yeah. But not a guy that's going to be lugging the mail out of your own zone. So he's a 7 defenseman at best, and the others got him cheap.
Yeah, if I'm a young defenseman in this organization, I'm really happy about this because because there's an injury doesn't mean that he's going to play. Right? He might play for a little bit, but then they'll bring up someone from the minors. Whereas last year, there was nowhere to go, right? There was nowhere to move. They had 7. This is now a tweaker. And I feel like I'm beating him down, but this is what he is, right? This is his role. He's the insurance, but young players are going to get a chance to play if there are injuries, longer injuries.
Also did a deal. Fred. Also did a 2-year deal, I believe, with Troy Stecher in around the 775 range, something along those lines. I liked what I saw from Stecher when he got here. I'll be interested to see if he can push Brown for that extra spot. I think we know who the top 6 are going to be, unless there is a trade. And by the way, given the money situation, I'm not sure. They got some maneuvering to do here. I don't know if it'll result in a trade on the back end or if the combination of sending guys down, they can maybe fit things in if they play short on their roster. But I think we all know who the top 6 are. I think Stecher maybe has an opportunity to push Brown. Connor Carrick also got a deal done there. Struds, how do you feel about the blue line in general? Like they didn't make the big addition at the year's deadline. They stood pat. I don't know if in the final analysis we felt like they were one blue liner short, if it would have made a huge difference if they'd had an upgrade in there and somewhere in their top 4 or 5. What do you think of them basically returning this blue line with Broberg there? Is it good enough?
Well, they took it to the Stanley Cup final, so it was pretty good. Was it perfect? No. Yeah. I think the one thing the Oilers really hurt them was an unhealthy Kane. If Kane was healthy, I wonder where we're at. Were we at the Stanley Cup parade, right? Who knows? And you'll never know that answer. Just like when Rolston got nicked up in 2006. I've said it and I'll continue to say it. I believe Darnell Nurse needs to play with someone that can, I'd like to see, not play with, I'd like to see his partner be a good puck-moving defenseman. Right. And one guy I'd kind of highlighted was Sean Walker. Now, obviously, the price was unavailable to the Oilers. They decided to go with Arvidsson instead. But I think that this year, if there is a trade to be made, and we're assuming everything's going to work out up front, maybe they find that piece to go beside him.
What about Broberg? Can Broberg be that exact guy you're talking about?
Well, I mean, I hope so. That'd be a massive thing. So, I think there's less players that we're talking about taking a step. But I mentioned McLeod, I mentioned Dylan Holloway, and I'm going to mention Broberg. I mean, he took a big step forward. Can he keep it there, not let that dip next season, but can he add more? And to me, more is seeing a hole, going forward, skate it, make a play, get up in that play, jump in on the offensive zone, be a little bit more dynamic in the offensive zone as far as moving in and out. Because I think he's very good skating defenseman. Kulak jumps in a little bit. I'd like to see Broberg do it more, but Brownie's got to make plays to do that.
Well, he does. He's still learning. I mean, there's a guy that came into the 3rd round of the playoffs and, all right, here you go, kid, sink or swim, and he swam. I don't believe the Oilers. I think the Oilers' defense is not as good as it was last year. You lose Desharnais and you add Josh Brown, and as you said, Strudy, Brown's not as good as Desharnais, so their defense isn't as good as it was last year. As for making a trade, if you're trading a defenseman out, you have to bring one back because they're not as deep on the back end. So the 6 they have, if the 6 stay healthy, it's good enough to win them a Stanley Cup. They were 1 win away last year with this defensive core. If they have any injuries on the back end, They're not as deep. They don't have a Broberg that they can throw in there now like they did last year. So if one of their top 4 get hurt, Josh Brown or Troy Stetcher or whoever you have on the farm isn't Vinny Desharnais. So I think they're a little thinner on the back end than they were last year, and that's something I believe they'll address as the season moves on.
Yeah, great point. It's going to be interesting. I wonder too about Broberg on right. Like the way this whole decor sets up, he kind of has to be. And I don't love that, man. If he was that good playing on his offside, I'd love to see him just be able to rock and roll where he's absolutely the most comfortable. But bottom line on Darnell Nurse, I mean, you know, I don't foresee a deal. I think that Darnell Nurse just needs to have a great summer. And I think they just need, they bet on Darnell Nurse with that contract, and they're just going to have no choice but to continue betting on him. You know, I think they're just going to need Darnell Nurse to have a great summer and come back and just be more consistent than he was for the bulk of this season. You know, maybe in a better headspace, having almost won a Stanley Cup here. And Struds, I don't see him going anywhere. They just need Darnell Nurse to be as good a defenseman as he can possibly be for them. And I don't know what that value is. They just need him to be a positive impact night in, night out, real good defenseman for the bulk of the year and do his absolute best. And, you know, they don't have a choice but to just keep betting on him here.
Yeah, and I mean, a good summer. Darnell's always in shape. Like I have a hard time believing he would. So I think.
No, I wasn't suggesting he wasn't Struds, but maybe it's headspace. Maybe it's all of it, right? Maybe it's all of it.
And I think just settling into what he does best, right? And I think that he's got the contract. What he needs is a Stanley Cup, just like everybody on this team. But I just go back to it, and this isn't a knock on Cody Ceci. I just don't think the two of them. They're kind of similar, right? I'd like to see a different look beside him, and I do think, and I'm way ahead of myself. I have to look through it because I nailed it on the Henrique one. I'll find out who they can trade for in the back, and I'll let you guys know. But you know, a piece that fits perfectly beside him, the perfect fit beside him, guys. And I don't know right now who it is.
That's awesome.
Hey, all they need is they just need Darnell to be Darnell. Yeah. That's all they need. Yeah. He doesn't have to be anyone else. Be the best he could be. He wasn't the best Darnell this year. He's been better, and his bar is higher than he was at this year. Just get to the bar that he's capable of getting to, and the Oilers are a better hockey club. He didn't reach that bar this year.
I think some second unit power play time along with Ekholm. I think that maybe could help get the offensive juices flowing a little bit. Like Nurse used to run this power play, you know, before the Barry deal and the emergence of Bouchard and all that. So maybe a little bit more sugar time on a second unit power play can help get things pushed in the right direction offensively for Darnell Nurse as well. Zuby, did we do a poll tonight? It's okay if we didn't, buddy. Sorry, I forgot to mention it to you. And
no, I did do a poll, actually.
You did a poll. Man, you were all over it tonight, pal. You were having a great finish.
You know, I do what I can. It's pretty. I think it's a pretty obvious one. But we did do a poll. Let me bring it up. You can.
Brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center, aiming to help you play better golf. Oh, and we'll be playing some golf. Oh, yeah, we'll be playing some golf. They've got fitting, instruction, after-sales support, golf merchandising, and clothing as well. 25 years. Check out their pro shop style atmosphere located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. We love DeBoer's. Al, Scott, TJ, the whole crew over there. They're a fantastic sponsor. We've loved having them on board. Many great conversations down at the shop. So big thanks to DeBoer's for being part of the show. Zuby, what's the poll, bud?
Yeah, so just a quick one. Pretty simple question, polling the fans here on the stream. Good number today on a non. We got lots of people here paying attention. Non-game day cup final over. Lots of people tuning in. So the question was your favorite free agent move by the Oilers so far. So the options were Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner. I lumped Brown, Janmark, Perry re-signing all together into one, and I said Stetcher, Brown. For depth defense. I think that one's a bit of a long shot, but the other three, maybe get a little love to see what the fans are thinking they're loving so far.
That Arvidsson one is going to work out good, fellas. That's the one. Hey, that'll be the one.
100%. That's my favorite signing by far. I know that yours is Troy Stetcher, Schauger, but Arvidsson to me.
What is the deal with Stetcher? Just because I thought he could push.
Thought he could
push. By the way, what, Struds? Oh, you muted yourself.
Oh.
You got so upset you muted yourself. No, his mic's.
If I said the over-under was 5.5, would it be fair to say over the number of times Schauger brought up Stetcher going in for CC?
Way over.
No, I don't want to get into
way over.
Because if you're going to bring that up, I'm going to bring up how you guys thought I was nuts for suggesting Holloway should be in the playoff lineup. So if you want to play this game, we can play this game.
No.
But there's going to be a lot of back and forth involved.
Play.
Yeah. You said second half of the year.
You guys didn't think he should start in the playoffs. You didn't think there was space for him.
We wanted him to play. We just didn't think he should be on the fourth line.
I feel like that's revisionist history, Zuby.
I think we will have to review. I think I'm on your side here, Schauger, of your memory of these.
Yeah. So look at guys. We're all tired. We're in the 11th hour here. The season's coming. Let's not start with the infighting, Struds. You started this. Why take it down this path?
Because it's funny.
That's true. It is funny. And people love it when you guys rip me to shreds. Okay. Where are we at here? Let's take a break. When we come back, listen, heavy heart. Final brownie points of the season. What an add to the pod this year, brownie points. My goodness. Final Strudy's world of the season. What an amazing segment. And we're going to wrap this thing up. So let's make the most of it. Stay with us. More to come here on the season finale.
Spring is here, and if you're thinking of buying a new home during the housing market hot period, contacting a mortgage broker should be your first step. Maria Gallus with Maximo Mortgages can guide you with a stress-free experience. With access to dozens of different lenders, Maria's simplistic approach and expert advice will have you ready to put an offer in on your dream home. Take the stress out of your mortgage journey. Contact Maria Gallus at mortgagesbymaria.ca. That's mortgagesbymaria.ca.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has been delivering a high-quality golf experience to Edmonton and area. This beautiful private club, located on Highway 21 just south of Sherwood Park, occupies 160 acres and presents a challenging yet adventurous 18-hole design. A beautiful clubhouse, fully stocked pro shop, and warm, friendly staff truly make it feel like you belong to something unique and special. Visit www.belvederegcc.com. Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca. Just Steve on the stream. Our good buddy Steve Taylor following along, foreshadowing some contractual issues with Got Your Back, suggesting Zuby going to be demanding big dollars on his next contract for next season. Zuby, we haven't even started our negotiating yet. Does it start with a 1 or a 2?
I'm looking for term. I'm looking for term here. I got a family to think about.
Family to think about. I'll buy the dollars down with term. Sounds good. Tell you, how does 10 months at $100 a week sound?
I got to get my calculator out. No, that sounds a little under what I was thinking.
All right, time now for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky, locally owned here in Alberta. Shipping is so fast, you can satisfy that savory craving. 14 flavors to choose from. Available in bison, turkey, pork jerky, prime Alberta beef, shipping anywhere in Alberta. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours and enter the Got Your Back code. Tell them that we sent you. And a big thanks to the amazing crew up at Cold Lake. Our good friends at Hamel's Premium Jerky came on partway through the season because they just had that much belief in the brain of Rob Brown. The only way they were getting involved is if it was in Rob Brown's segment, Brownie. So just so you know, buddy, Hamel's believes in you, pal.
Well, that's good. I feel really good. I wish a few more coaches would have believed in me when I played. I should add Hamel's as
you
my
work
coaching
harder
staff.
On this pod than you did back then.
Well, I back-checked more for sure. I got 115 brownie points to Oiler fans. That's how many games it will be to get back to where we were a couple weeks ago, Game 7. The Oilers played 115 games. Let's hope they play that many, as at least that many next year, and hopefully there is a win in the last one of the season. I have 6 brownie points to new Oiler Jeff Skinner. He's had 6 30-goal seasons in his career. I think this is a great signing, and 30 goals is, I think, certainly in his wheelhouse, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 40-goal season out of Jeff Skinner playing with Leon Draisaitl. I got 30 brownie points for Victor Arvidsson. 10 of them will be for the 10 healthy runs he took at Matthias Ekholm. And the other 20s, I think he's going to score 20 goals. I think Victor Arvidsson will have 20 goals playing with Leon, and I don't even think he needs power play time to do that. I think he will line the back of the net 20 times. I got 41 points. There's to Janmark and Brown. The most consistent line for the Oilers in the playoffs, especially the finals, was the third line. And the best part of the Oilers outside of Connor McDavid was the Oilers penalty killing. I think Janmark and Brown were big parts of that. I think those were huge depth signings by the Edmonton Oilers. And the last one, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to throw 75 brownie points out to Strudwick, Rishaug, and Brown, because I believe it's about 75 days until the next got your back, and I can hardly wait. So 75 brownie points to all of us. We each get 25.
Love it. Struds, what do you think?
I think it's great. I love his breakdown. A lot of good things. And I'm very interested to see how the totals of Skinner and Arvidsson compare to Henrique and
Fogel.
Fogel.
Yeah. And when you compare the money as well, right? A lot of good. And Henrique was, I get it. He was, half deal, but it's those two would be, if they can do better, have more, it makes the Oilers a more dangerous team. And I think that allows it to spread things out again across the 4 lines.
By the way, this just in from the Twitter feed of Bob Stauffer. He lists a bunch of signings, and at the very end, people are talking about it on the stream. He says, I have a sneaking suspicion Edmonton is not done at forward. That coming to us from the Bob father. So we will see if there's something to be done in the coming days. We'll have to have Bob on next season. We had Jack Michaels on this year. Probably got to get Bob on at some point. Hey, Brownie, you need more Bob Stauffer time in your life, buddy.
I like it.
Nobody has enough time for Bob. We always need Bob in our lives. A little bit of Bob. Little bit of Bob. The Bob father, like that one.
I love it.
That one might stick.
Yeah, the Bob father. All right, that was Brownie Points brought to you by our great friends over at Hamel's Beef Jerky. So let's transition smoothly into Strudy's World, brought to you by Shipwreck Rum. There's that music. If you haven't yet had the experience of this amazing flavored rum blended on the Caribbean island of St. Kitts, do yourself a favor. Grab a bottle today if Struds leaves any for anybody else. The Brindley family's been crafting Shipwreck in small batches for decades now. Spiced rum is aged 4 years in bourbon barrels infused with natural vanilla. Get Shipwrecked, Oiler fans, responsibly over the summer with Struds. Available at your local liquor retailer. Enjoy responsibly. Struddy, what do we got, buddy? Season finale.
In life, there are certain things you want to witness. Like I would have loved to have seen Luciano Pavarotti sing. I would have loved to have seen that. It would have been amazing. I would have loved to have seen, Justin Timberlake dance up close. I've been able to witness Connor McDavid stick handle skate. These are things that beauty, works of art, that transcend their art or their sport. I never thought I'd put myself in that category until I had an epiphany last week. I am also in that level of ability when it comes to the way I handle the whippersnipper. It is unbelievable. When I get the whippersnipper in my hand, it's like an extension of my body. I am so good. I could whippersnip a piece of guck off someone's eyelash from across the driveway. That's how well I do. When I drive by, I can hear someone know if their cord is too long, if it's too short, how much is left in the reel, are they banging it against the ground, whatever. I am a true artist. And I wish I had videos to support this, but I don't need to. You'll have to take my word for it because pretty much everything I tell you is fact. But guys, I am not only good at it, I can change the reel out. When it runs out of reel, most people can't do it. They go get a new one. Not Uncle Strudy. Boom, pop it off. I do it. I have a 2-way one. Wrap it up, put it in and go. It is truly elite, guys, the whippersnipper handling I have. And I put myself amongst the greats of anybody in the world that is good as a craft or a skill.
It's funny because I own 3 whippersnippers because the first one ran out of the stringy stuff. And I went and bought I bought more string, but it couldn't get it to work, so I went and bought a new whippersnipper.
No, you didn't.
And then it ran out of string.
Too much. I'm paying you too much money.
No, this is before you started paying me. I can't afford one now. I've got 3 whippersnippers and I can't use any of them. I borrowed my buddies down the street because I can't get the string.
What's your grad code? Greg, give me your grad code. I'm going over tomorrow. I'll change them all up, buddy. I can change them up. I could probably do all 3 in less than 30 minutes. I challenge you to find someone else who could do that who's under 50 years old.
Gomez coming in over the top says, Strudy, sometimes it looked like you played D with a whippersnipper.
Oh, snap.
That wouldn't be wrong. That wouldn't be wrong. But if I had this, the puck, I have the whippersnipper, I probably would be a Hall of Famer. Guys, I'm not even kidding. I can hear a tone when I'm driving down the street. Oh man, that guy's got not enough cord out because there's a perfect amount of cord out.
Perfect amount of cord out, Jason Strudwick. Speaking of whippersnipper, what's the Backscape GYB code? Asks Sprunt. You got the old whippersnipper on the back. The Worm says, I will challenge you, Struddy. I don't know how you have a whippersnipper competition.
Well, it's
quality. I'd like to watch it though.
Yeah, because one of the challenge, and this is such an amateur, but you see one of the things people do, like it goes down, it just kills the grass. You got to keep it at a certain height. You've got to be at that 2-3 inch height, and it's an art form. It really is, guys. It's much like Mr. Miyagi with the bonsai tree. That's how I treat my whippersnipper. Like it is a work of art. My grass, my clippings on the side.
You did not disappoint in the final Strudy's world of the season.
I've got lots more. I have so many written down. We could do a whole show.
You want? We'll go 5 days a week through the summer, just Strudy's world. Just tape it on your phone. We'll tweet it. All right. Well, we've been trying to delay this moment. I tried to draw the segments out, but I just couldn't do it any longer. We have to say a goodbye. We have to say a couple of goodbyes. Actually, I got a quick phone call to make here because we're going to do both goodbyes right now. We're not done the pod. Struds and I have a couple segments left with Zuby, but the crew is breaking up for the summer here, so we need to check in with Steve Taylor here. Simply Steve at home in Kelowna. I know he was listening. He was on the stream.
Hey, buddy.
Steve-O, you're on air, buddy.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, pal?
How's it going?
Were you playing the guitar?
Yeah. Just sitting here emotional, just thinking about the last episode of the season and all we've been through this season and how much we've grown. And
oh, boy.
The adversity we've overcome.
Guys,
don't forget.
I tried that once and I was...
Yeah. Yeah, you did say, remember that? When was that? You guys remember Steve out of the blue on the stream? The Oilers had won a game or something, and suddenly Steve was professing his love for us.
Pretty emotional.
Boys, we hadn't won a game. That was to head to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And at that point, I loved everybody.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. Well, listen, Steve, I know your contract is up and there's no guarantees moving forward here. So I just wanted to give you a chance to, we wanted an opportunity to say you've been an amazing addition to the pod this year, buddy. Hopefully we can get something worked out for next year. We'll see if Zuby leaves any money for anybody else. But great job, buddy. It was a great addition. Good to have you.
Thanks, boys. I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun.
Enjoy doing the Rockets podcast next year. Talk to you later.
Oh, we got to send him out on that note. See you, Steve-O. Have a great summer, buddy.
See you, boys.
All right. Just Steve Taylor, of course, was an amazing addition to the pod this year. Zuby, jump in here too, buddy. We got to say bye to Brownie. Brownie, I don't know. Words can't express it. They don't properly articulate. There's no way to say it. I fought with Struds to have you on this show. He fought it for months and months, and finally I convinced him. But you've been an absolute beauty, buddy. Full disclosure, Struds, I don't know if you experienced the same thing. It's kind of a piss off. Everywhere I go, people talk about how much they love the fact that we added Rob Brown to our podcast. It's nonstop, and I hear it all the damn time.
Yeah, no, honestly, I thought when he came in, he'd be average, and he was. So I think it worked out really well.
Yeah. Made us look good.
If you have a low bar, it's easy to hit that bar every time. So I just kept my bar low. Every once in a while, I'll hop over the bar, but I never set it too high. It's just like in my marriage. My wife said, just don't set the bar too high.
Yeah.
Zuby,
no,
you're the
awesome.
one that...
I've had so much fun.
Yeah.
It's been good, Brownie.
Zuby, you're the one that's had to herd the cats. How's Brownie in terms of maintenance compared to Struds and I? Like, of all the three poodles here, who's the most? Brownie's the most high maintenance, eh?
Are you kidding? I don't know. The second I send Brownie the link, he's the first one in here. Bing, he pops in, and then we get to have our awkward it's back and forth. No, I'm just kidding. It's just Brownie and I don't have a ton of one-on-one. So when that happens, no, he's in here fast. He's in fast and out fast, if you know what I mean.
It might be Struds then.
When it relates to the pod. I don't know. I can count on Brownie. And Brownie, I believe I finished with my cumulative 107 Brownie points is what I finished with. And I'll give them all back to you as long as you're coming back for next season. I'll give you those back. I don't want you to run out. I know that won't help sometimes when you're giving out millions of them, but you can have my 107 back that I finished with on the plus
I appreciate it. I might need them. I'm going to Disneyland next week with my family, and I'm going to need all the Brownie points to be able to pay for this trip. So, yeah, I appreciate getting those back. I take them back from Schauger, but Schauger's actually in the red right now. He's negative.
So below the water. We'll leave you with a few comments from the YouTube stream here, Brownie. Robin Mungle Fitness says, Brownie makes the show. One Man Sports Hernia, Brownie is the MVP. Gomez says, Brownie learned how to leave the pod. It was a growth year. Zulu says, Brown makes the show. Like the middle square from Hollywood Squares. Rob Brown getting loose after Ched postgame is a gem. Lots of love for you on the stream, Brownie. We love you too, buddy. Great job this year.
Brownie,
thank you very much. It was awesome.
So good to have you, Brownie. Bring us back some churros from Disneyland. They're unbelievable there. They're $10 each, but email.
They are good. And
mail them to us.
And the big turkey leg too.
Yeah.
Seriously, I can mail those things? Just put it in an envelope?
Yeah, just put it in an envelope. Yeah, just send them overnight.
They're already stale when you buy them. So this time, guys, everyone have a fantastic summer. I look forward to, hopefully look forward to being back again next year on Got Your Back. This was an awesome season.
We'll call you. Don't call us.
Yeah, we'll see, Brownie. I got a few irons in the fire. I should let you know by like second or third week of September if we need you back.
I heard.
Oh, you sound like every general manager I've ever played. Yeah,
Steve. I heard Steve needs help with the Kelowna.
You know if we need you or not.
Yeah, Steve needs help with the Kelowna podcast.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brownie. Thanks, buddy.
Bye, everybody.
See you, buddy. All right, we'll be right back. Lots more to come on the show, folks. We'll be right back.
We're back.
Oh, we're back. That's it.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, we've already done our commercial breaks. I gave you the music.
I just missed a couple of phone calls that I got to take, but we're doing a live pod, so I guess I can't take those phone calls.
I'll bring it home, buddy. I got it.
No, that's okay.
Let's say goodbye to Ryan Rishaug.
It's trying to kick me off. I'm not ready to go yet.
And that was great having you on. We'll talk about next year. See you later.
All right, time to take a lap. Brought to you by Backscape, the fastest growing male grooming company on the planet. Just got even better. Engineered for back shaving. Sorry, one sec. Just working on something here, folks. This is live podcasting sometimes. Struds, why don't you and Zuby hop in here and just talk about some of the other signings that happened? I literally need to take a 15-second break here.
Okay.
Pausing.
Okay.
Smooth, I'm just working on confirming something. Sorry, guys. This is live podcasting.
No
so, Struds, talk a little bit about what's happening around the league.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I'll finish with this. Stay smooth, gentlemen. And I think I said it better than Shocker. So a couple of signings I think that are relevant to the Edmonton Oilers. So it's the Jake DeBrusk, formerly of the Boston Bruins, signed with Vancouver Canucks, and that's a really big deal. If you are the Vancouver Canucks, I look at Jake DeBrusk. He's going to a similar opportunity as Zach Hyman had with the Edmonton Oilers, and I think that he's a guy that I'm guessing he'll play with either JT Miller or Pettersson. And this guy, he scored over 20 goals a few times here. He's a good 200-foot player. I do think that there's a good chance that he's a really good fit. Hey,
Strudy?
Yeah.
You got to break in, buddy. Looks like Henrique is going to be back with the Oilers.
What?
Yeah.
Don't even tease me. If you're teasing me, I will never come on this podcast again. That's my boy.
Sorry, buddy. I'll let you react. I just got to send a tweet out here real quick. Sorry, folks. This is literally the way this works. Is we work hard to get information, and you can't really control when it comes in. So give me a sec here.
Okay, so obviously Jake DeBrusk, that was my thing, but Adam Henrique, wow. I have no idea how they're going to fit him in cap wise. I don't know how they're going to make it work, but that is a lot of depth up front. that is more than the wish list you could ask for if you're an Oilers fan.
Yeah. Sorry. This is the way it works. Then I get preoccupied trying to get term and dollars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
listen, I know at this point he had several options.
Of course, yeah.
And here's the thing, like, really well liked in the locker room. I think he had an absolute blast at Edmonton. I think he loved it. I think he's at a point in his career where he wants to win. I think that's huge on his priority list. So, this is pretty unreal. I'm interested to see what the dollar figure is. The Oilers are clearly pretty tight here on the cap. And, they're going to have to do some maneuvering to figure out how to make this work. Career year, Struds. Like, I thought he was going to be mid to high threes. Not sure if that was out there for him or not. I believe there was an offer into him from the Oilers to try and keep him. But, my sense at that point was it was in the 2 range. Yeah. So
it's a 7-year contract for $700,000 a year.
yeah, there you go.
No, so listen, so we'll let you figure that money out. But
yeah,
him coming into this group, that is, if he is in fact coming, and now I don't know at this point what's going to happen as far as if someone has to leave, but the depth on this group up front it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You're going to have 2, just like they did in the playoffs. Now, keep in mind, in the playoffs, they had legitimate NHL players sitting out, whether it's Carrick or Perry at times, these types of things. They'll have legitimate NHL players sitting out in game 1, the first game of the year. So let's assume they keep everyone that they have. We had Perry's extra guy, which is fair or not fair. Then, who do you take out? Is it Brown? Is it Ryan? Is it Janmark? Is it, it's not going to be Kane. Is it going to be Dylan Holloway? Is it going to be McLeod? Like, if again, we don't know what's going to happen, but there could be 2 legitimate forwards sitting out. That's depth, people. That's depth.
Yeah, that is depth. Something's going to have to give here. I'm running through the numbers in my head. We almost want to call Hart Levine and get him on because he does such a great job over at Puckpedia. Yeah, Struds. I'm surprised. Like, it just didn't look like it was going to all add up. So what does it mean for Ryan McLeod? Is there something that gives on the blue line? Not 100% sure here. But what do you think of Jeff Jackson here, buddy? Like, this interim GM thing, man. The fans are going to be clamoring for him to stay on board. And by the way, there's some members of his staff too. Like Bill Scott he's the one on the phones. He's the one. He's right in the middle of all this. If you watch any of that stuff on Oilers Plus on the Oilers deadlines, you see how Scott was attached at the hip to Ken Holland, helping him work through a lot of stuff. So their staff, they've gotten a lot done here, man. A tremendous amount done on this day.
Now, consider the Oilers went to the Stanley Cup final, and people look at this as a destination to try to win. And they have 3 players, forwards specifically, that have made a lot of money in their careers, and now they're looking to win. So whether they get, and this, I don't want to be cavalier about money, but if you make 4 or 3.25 or 3.25 or 2.5, like, you're not talking about, this isn't Vinny Darnay these are massively increasing his career earnings. Mm-hmm. So this could be, I just don't know how the numbers can work. I don't see how they can all fit together. But it feels like there's going to be a lot of depth on this team prior to the season, which is something that they didn't have till the trade deadline last year.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I botched that Backscape ad.
I said the Stay Smooth gentleman. They got a text.
You did the Stay Smooth gentleman? Okay.
They liked it. I got a nice text back.
We want to show a lot of appreciation to Backscape too. They were an awesome sponsor this year. We got so much reaction when we started showing their videos. People were like, what? But I tell you, man, it's a great product. And we're really happy that they're on board. No body shaming. Body hair is a normal thing. Guys at Backscape do a great job of helping us out with that. Okay, Struds, let's quickly do a rip through a couple other winners on the day. The Nashville Predators make a splash. Boston makes a splash. Seattle get in on the mix a little bit. Where do you go when you think about major winners for the day?
Well, I touched on, I think DeBrusk to Vancouver is perfect. I think he's going to be Hyman's or Pettersson's Hyman. I really do. I think that's a great spot. Nashville, obviously, it's funny. Barry Trotz has become the coach he wasn't as a GM. And not that he's a bad coach, but tons of offense. He's bringing a ton of offense to his lineup. He probably wish he had that when he was coaching the Predators, when it was a little bit different time. Mm-hmm. Boston's I like. Lindholm isn't the player he was. Is he going to be able to roll with that group? I don't believe Coyle's a second line center. I still think that he's the best as a third line center. He had lots of opportunity last year. Seattle, I think it helped them out. They had, some long-term depth. Obviously, Montour is going to help a little more skill. It looked like they wanted to add. Their idea was skill. It felt like it was high-end skills what they brought in Seattle. So that'll challenge the Oilers there. But yeah, pretty good day. I don't think there's any gross contracts handed out that I'm like, whoa, this is crazy that I've seen in past years.
Yeah, interesting, man. Some major mainstays changing course, right? Steven Stamkos, like, holy smokes. Probably would have thought he would have finished his career there. Jonathan Marchessault. The Predators jumping on a couple of guys that are changing locations.
Well, Marchessault is obviously when they got Hurdle that he wasn't going to be back, or maybe not obvious. I don't want to say I'm an insider, but it was pretty clear. I give Breezeball credit though, man. Stamkos is getting older. He did have a really good year last year, but I think, is Stamkos 34, 35, somewhere in there? I might be wrong somewhere. I think that Gensel's 28, 29. So he traded out 5-6 years to get younger.
Yeah.
That's a hard decision, a really hard decision to make, but he made one in a market that the captain is beloved. This is the beloved captain. So that's a hard call, but he made it and his owners backed him up.
Yeah, 100%. All right. That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our friends over at Backscape. All right. Let's get now to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Match Eatery and Public House. Happy hours better at Match Pub Ice District. Score 20% off Appies, half-price wine and other drink specials every day, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Located adjacent to Rogers Place and Grand Villa Casino. For more information, visit matchpub.com. Zuby, hop on in here, buddy. Sorry, I'm still a little preoccupied on the phone. I'll let you guys go through some of this stuff, and I'll hop in as I see fit. But Zuby, very active stream tonight.
Yeah, so a number of people suggesting or wondering maybe about Kane to LTIR. Noah says maybe Kane to LTIR, depends how long it takes to recover, or if he needs surgery. Could that buy them time to make some of these other decisions?
Yeah, I mean, that's $5.5 million, right? And Kane's got to get healthy. And can you do it in 2 months? That seems difficult. And if they're, Chagra mentioned that today, Jeff Jackson said they're still trying to sort that out. So even if they sort it out, let's say in a week, 10 days, like you're not getting the surgery the next day. It might take a little bit of time to get that organized. Then you got to rehab. So yeah, it feels unlikely that Kane starts healthy on the team. But I'm just guessing here. But to have him out for 82 games, that might be a bit of a push, unless there's more significant injuries than we know about or knew about.
Tempest Taz says only issue with today is Arvidsson 5'9" and Skinner 5'11" is size. We know the team's big in other places, but does that concern you, Struds?
Yeah, so obviously Arvidsson isn't as big as Fogle, but he plays big. Like this guy, if you're worried about that, he plays very, very big. And then, again, if it's Henrique for Skinner, it's not that much of a difference, as far as size. I think Henrique's maybe a little bit thicker. But if Henrique is indeed coming back, then that's it. But keep in mind, for the most part, the Oilers didn't really have Kane in the playoffs at a real Kane where he's at. So I think that's something to think about, how this all fits together. Because now they have so much depth. Something's got to give at some point.
Robin Mungal says, is zero playoff experience a concern in Jeff Skinner, or do you think it's just going to be that hunger for a guy who's wanted it for so long?
Yeah, it is because you don't know that feeling, and then quite frankly, I didn't know that feeling either. What it's like and how to compete that hard. So I think that it'll be a learning lesson on the fly for him. But you remember when Jay Bowmeister went like 1,000 games without playing in the playoffs? He figured it out pretty quick. So I think that for Skinner, he's got to watch, he's got to learn. And 95% of this team is NHL Stanley Cup final battle tested. So you have a few parts that are figuring out, but he should be highly motivated because this could be his chance to win the Stanley Cup. This could be it, right? And you don't want to be a reason why it doesn't happen. So I think it'll be a learning process for him. And his play away from the puck is going to have to be turned up as well.
Obelisk 21, just with a little bit of perspective from what you guys were talking about earlier, he said Vinny Desharnais became the 7th defenseman on this team and he just got $2 million. So there's no way they could do that. And you said that Brown is like not as good as Vinny, but he got $1 million. That's your 7D. So that's just where the math kind of had to land. Would you agree with that?
I think that's fair. And keep in mind, that contract, and I feel bad. I don't want to be beating up on Brown, but he got $3 million. He's going to be happy about that. But that money can be placed in the minors, right? That money can easily, same with Carrick, same with Stetcher. Like these guys, 2 or 3 of them will be in the minors, and maybe all 3 will be at some point, right? So you got to keep that in mind. That is flexible money that moves up and down and doesn't kill you on the cap, because if it's under, like, I want to say it's 1 1/4, whatever it is, you have flexibility. I think that's really important to be at that level down there being in that 7th defenseman role.
Right. Zulu pointing out Stetcher, Brown, Carrick, all right-hand defensemen. And he's wondering, what does that mean for Cody Ceci? It would be speculation, but do you think there's something to that? And I believe I noted that it looked like are Brown, Stetcher, and Carrick all one-way deals? Like, is someone going to have to clear waivers if they're the 8th guy? Like, there's kind of a lot of guys there now.
Yeah, and they might have to clear waivers, but I have a hard time believing any of those guys will get picked up. And again, with all due respect, I think especially at the beginning of the year. And yes, they all are righties, because guess what? If there's an injury to the left, Broberg slides over. Right, that happens right away. So, and they're different looks, right? Brown is kind of bigger, heavier player. Sketcher is a little bit more quick and moving, and he had some surgeries will take him ready to get going, a little while to get going. Then he got Carrick. So I think they were looking at depth. So really, you have 4 left defensemen, and then you have 5 right defensemen as depth players.
Penner's Pancakes, he said earlier in the pod, keep 71 on the wing, please. Does the Henrique signing, if that's 100% locked in, is that? If Ryan McLeod's still here, does that probably move him to the wing?
I think it might. I think, though, it also gives you an opportunity to develop him at center. Like, you got to keep trying to develop McLeod. You can't just give up on him, right? And I'm not giving up. I love his speed, but he has to just keep adding and growing his game. So I think if let's assume everyone stays, and I don't think that's a possibility, but let's say it does, what'll happen is that there'll be moving pieces, and you've seen Knobloch's not afraid to move people around and try new looks, see how it fits, and keep developing, because you got to develop Holloway, you got to develop McLeod, you got to get Kane his ice time on the power play, you got to get Skinner ice time on the power play. He's going to have a lot of things to balance. The good thing is it's a good problem to be saying, I got to find more guys, more ice time.
Yeah. Just wanted to just cut in here real quick. A lot of people asking how the Oilers have the money to sign it. You can go over the cap in the summertime,
right?
So just text Hart Levine. He said 10%. So you have time. You can load up your cap, and then you just got to make some maneuvers after the fact to try and clear up that space. Dave Pagnotta reporting a 2-year deal for Henrique. I still can't confirm the dollar figure just yet. I'm sure someone will break it here at some point.
What a day.
But a 2-year deal on Adam Henrique, according to Dave Pagnotta. He quote tweeted my tweet saying that sounds like Henrique would be back. So sorry, Zuby, continue along.
Well, last one here. We're a little long. I was just going to kind of say how different, last year, Strudy, we know the couple of the fellas came out and said cup or bust, but as far as cup or bust goes, you think about at this time last year or even later, in the fall, we were talking about Adam Ernie, Lane Peterson, Sam Gagne, some of these other guys to fill in the bottom of the roster. And now, as you guys are saying, maybe there's still going to be some movement here. There has to be, but what does it mean to have the bottom of the roster? You're pushing out legit NHL guys versus trying to find a journeyman to fill a 3rd or 4th line hole.
I truly feel, and this is me, somebody hear me say a lot next year, they need to balance ice time and take the pressure off those top guys. And I thought they did a pretty good job last year, but the more depth you have, the closer those minutes can be. It's going to be okay for Connor Leon to play 18, 19 minutes some night, right? And keep them fresh. and then get that bottom up to 8, 9. If your fourth line is Janmark, let's just say it's Janmark, Holloway, Brown, those guys should play 10 minutes a night, but that has to come off somewhere. But that's a good thing because you're keeping them fresh for the drive. Like same with Matthias Ekholm. Got to play everybody, right? Those minutes should be all around 20 minutes a night.
All right, buddy. Good stuff. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Match Eatery and Public House. Time now for our play of the day, brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gaming partner of the Oilers, Flames, Elks, and Stampeders. Bet on the games that matter and the players you love with odds, boosts, and player props. Play in Alberta stays in Alberta. Deposit today and get a $50 free bet with the code GYB50. Visit playalberta.ca. Another sponsor that came on board partway through the season, and we greatly appreciate them. Struds, what do you got?
I'm giving it to the Edmonton Oilers management group for the day they had today. I did not think that half of this that they've accomplished today was possible. And I thought they had an incredible day. So that is my play of the day and probably a fitting way to go drift off into the summer, Shaggy.
Yeah, I love it, buddy. I love it. And for Oiler fan, right? Disappointment in Game 7. Crushing for Oiler fan. But some hope. By the way, Jeff Jackson and his management group stayed back in Vegas. Decided to do their wheeling and dealing from Vegas. Didn't want to make the trip home. So just an FYI, maybe they were in that Vegas kind of mood, fellas.
So good. So good. Thanks to everyone for listening. It was a great year. We really appreciate all our listeners, all our subscription, everything. We really appreciate it. And I love running and talking to all you when I see you in the States. So thank you. And thank you for tuning in. Honestly, it was a great year. Unbelievable support.
Yeah. Zuby, wonderful job this year, my friend. I gave you a rough time a lot. Everybody needs to know it was always just jokes. Nothing but love for you, buddy. You are fantastic as the brains of the operation, pal. Can't wait to get going again in a couple months.
Well, I appreciate it. So much fun. And I'm always striving for technical perfection, and I get more frustrated than anyone when we have issues with YouTube or whatever. But we appreciate the numbers we get of people tuning in live and listening to audio later and YouTube and all the comments and everything. It's super fun. And
it's awesome.
Got your back Kelowna contingent, me, Just Steve, and Gomez. We're going to all go out for a beer sometime
Love
soon.
It.
And the interaction on the stream is so much fun. So it's great to be here. Looking forward to another year.
Wonderful job, guys. Also have to pass on a huge thanks. We've got a tireless worker behind the scenes. This might sound a little bit self-serving. My wife, Randine, runs so much of the logistics of this podcast, keeping things organized, working with our sponsors. She's a huge part of the team as well. So thank you, Randine, for all that you've done for the pod this year. Thanks to all of you for listening, for subscribing, for telling your friends, for your kind comments out in public. We're going to take a little break. Just got to recharge the batteries. If there's any massive breaking news, if we can, we'll do an emergency pod here or there. We're going to keep tabs on this Draisaitl situation. We'll keep an eye on things, but we do need to recharge the batteries. Strudy's got to get the golf game in order and get himself all charged up for another season of amazing Strudy's World as well. So thanks, boys. We'll talk to you in a couple of months.